And we are joined by a guest from the Kenya Commercial Bank. He's going to be telling us what he has in store for us, but also I'm going to be giving him an opportunity to introduce himself. But before that, kindly do engage with us on our social media platforms at Science TV Kenya, at the Island Harvard, hashtag Science Breakfast, hashtag the Island Harvard. You could also find us on mobile. The numbers are scrolling on your screen, SMS or WhatsApp, and we'll be glad to sample some of your feedback. Or you can also find us on web, that is at www.sciencetv.co.ke. And without further ado, my guest, kindly introduce yourself and tell us why you are here this morning.
Asante sana, Alan.
Yes.
My name is Michelle Njiru,
Yes.
and I'm the director in charge of customer excellence for
Yes.
KCB Bank Kenya Limited.
Yeah.
And by customer excellence, it means really I take care of our customers.
Yes.
Yeah. And I articulate customer issues both internally and externally.
Yeah.
And I'm the bridge between the customer and the organization.
Interesting. When I was looking, I was reading the brief, I saw a word, customer obsession, and I remembered it while I was emceeing an event for another organization, and I really never understood what customer obsession is really about. Because you are the bridge, allow me start the conversation from there. What is really customer obsession?
Customer obsession, simply put, is where an organization, for instance,
Yes.
puts the customer at the heart of every decision point in what they do.
Yes.
That you literally are, obsessed is almost a sense of madness, of craziness for the customer.
Yeah.
That you want to do, jump hoops and do what you need to do for the benefit of the customer.
Yeah.
So that when you wake up in the organization, when you wake up to serve,
Yes.
all your thinking is about your customer.
Yes.
And how do you better the life of the customer through the customer journey.
Yeah.
And by customer, sometimes you only think of the external customer. But in my space, I look at the customer in two ways. The internal customer. And these are your staff and your people. You're serving each other, your customers of each other's services.
Yeah.
And then there is the external customer that you're providing your product or your service to.
Yeah.
So how do we wake up? What's your DNA? What is in the blood of everybody within the organization? When you wake up, what are you going to do different? Or what are you going to do to make the life of the customer easy, memorable, and differentiated from others?
Yeah.
So that's what obsessed really. It's, as the word sounds, that's what it really is when it comes to customer obsession.
Quite a heavy word, and this will segue me into my next question. How has this obsession evolved over the 127 years that KCB has been in existence?
Well, I would not even look at just KCB in isolation, but I would look at the customer, I would say, obsession and customer excellence space holistically, say, in this country. One thing is that we never took it as a big thing back in the day. So you can imagine 127 years ago, you're the only bank, you're the only one providing financial services.
You're like, guaranteed
the customers are yours.
Yes.
And we build trust over time. And I think that's very key for us, for instance, at KCB, the trust that we built. But as we evolve, you find that customer needs started changing.
Yes.
And I can tell you, because I was part of the pioneer group that started the customer experience industry in this country. I was one of the very first professionals in customer excellence. And it started more or less with the mobile phone companies around the year 2000.
Yes.
That's when organizations started putting in call centers, contact centers to receive, feedback and information from the customer.
Yeah.
And slowly people started taking in that the customer is actually key. And Alan, sadly, is that a lot of us here in this part of the world, we are suckers for bad service. We'll get treated badly, we'll get bad service, and we're almost okay with it. The only breed of people who will go into a restaurant, get a steak that is over salted, and we will eat it and finish it, and go home, and then when you say that steak was really bad at that place.
Yeah? Why I'm laughing, this is non-relevant, but why I'm laughing, over the weekend I went to have lunch with a friend, and the kind of soup that I was served with meatballs, it seemed as if this was a single meatball, then it was cut into 4 pieces. But because of humility, I even had to pay, to tip the person who was serving me, just to make them feel even more humiliated for how they had treated me.
But instead, probably you didn't humiliate the person, but maybe you encouraged their behavior. For them, they felt maybe they had given their best, and they'll give the same to someone else to get another tip. What I'm saying, long and short of it, is that the customer has evolved. The customer today knows, what is their value. They know their contribution to an organization. They know that without them, the organization ceases to exist. And on the other side, organizations are beginning to value the customer. They are beginning to see a human being as a human being beyond the numbers and beyond the profits that they are getting. And that's why you're seeing people opening up different channels of communicating to customers. That's why you're having now relationship management. You're getting customer segmentation, people trying to understand who are their customers, where are their customers, and how do we serve our customers best. So that evolution really has happened over those 127 years. And now you look at, say, KCB, for instance. We were not in the traditional channels that we are in today. We are on all social media platforms. You're on your Twitter, your FB, or X now. Sorry, let me put it. You're in X, and then and that is dangerous space, And you traditionally never find, say, financial service providers such as banks in that form of space. Who would have thought you can bank through social media platforms? Contact centers. Who would have thought you can serve people through your contact centers? Traditionally, what we knew was the branch, and the branch manager. You have to wake up, dress. It was an occasion going to the bank. Those 127 plus years, even more, very recent. I mean, you dress up, you go with your parents, to the bank. It was a big deal because by noon the branch has closed.
Absolutely.
So you'd rather be there the first one in, make sure you've transacted by noon. If you miss out, you plan for another day. That's how it was. But today, there's convenience. It's customers want service at their fingertips. You want it, run a transaction now. You want a response now. And you move on with life.
You spoke about segmentation of clients. How would then clients be segmented? And this, based on what you tell me, would lead me into sort of my next question, because this particular segment is called Inclusion One-on-One, and I want us to a little bit focus on people who are oftenly left out in the financial systems of the country, because one, there is a misconception that they might not have enough money to be in that particular system, or they might not even have the money to be considered to be a part of that particular financial system.
Traditionally, customers used to just be viewed as either you're within the corporate business space, or you're within the retail space. Traditionally, those were the two sort of viewpoints. And then slowly others would come in and would say, now, if you're a corporate or retail, how do we go, below that? Are you now within the youth, sort of section, or where do you
a woman enterprise?
A woman entrepreneur, where do you fit? Or are you what you call a cub? For us, we call them cubs, from the lion. So are you just, the kid who's just starting a banking relationship with us? So those were the traditional, I would say, viewpoints. But now I think it's going beyond that. And when you look at, say, KCB, for instance, we discovered also there was a big disadvantage, for instance, on the female-led businesses. So we started what we call female-led, female-made sort of solution that speaks to the ladies, and we dedicate an amount of money to help them in their business and in their enterprise, because you discover that they are not, in talking of inclusion, they are falling off that curve of inclusion, because everything else seems to be very corporate, very male sort of dominated. But in their space, there are no competitive, I would say, offerings, for them. So we started looking, into that space, and we are heavy and big playing into that space. Then going also into inclusion now,
Yes.
it starts also with us internally. How do we recruit? How do we bring in staff? And how do we bring in people to serve our customers? Again, we have a very non-discriminatory, I would say, policy in terms of the people that we recruit within the organization.
Yes.
So there's no bias in terms of gender, in terms of orientation, and also you look at also if you're abled differently.
Yes.
Those are areas that now we are actively looking at and actually onboarding, people to come and help serve, because
Yes.
it does not mean you have any inability to perform, like any other person. You find some of the brightest people are these,
Yes.
and they have a purpose, they have drive, and they are equal to measure like anybody else. So in our recruitment programs, you'll see that we have actively onboarded people abled differently within the organization.
Yes.
And they're also helping us incubate other solutions that we want to come up with to sort of cover and fit into this particular space.
I am going to hold you by your word, because you said you have customers two-way. You have customers in-house and out-house. As you're answering that question, you've answered the part of inclusion from the aspect of inside. Now, when we come back from the break, I would like you to sort of touch base on the outside. Now, I am a person with a disability and I bank with KCB. What are the opportunities might be available for me? And if I am not banking with KCB, then what is the bank doing to make me understand that I can be a part of their journey? I guess this is a deal.
It is.
All right. We're going to be back after this break. Do keep it Science TV. We'll be back shortly.
At Science TV, we value your feedback. If you have any questions, concerns, compliments, or feedback, write to us on P.O. Box 29500 00100 Nairobi, or email us on info@sciencemediake.com, or you can use our WhatsApp number 0111 980 384, or send an SMS to 0111 980 384, or you can drop your letter at our physical office at Ishara House, Ridgeways Lane, off Garden Estate Road, Ridgeways. Science TV, championing disability inclusion.
As a professional or a corporate entity, download the app from the Google Play Store or App Store and proceed to register as a corporate entity from the drop-down menu. Edit your profile and add your phone number onto the profile. You can then load money into your wallet using an M-Pesa push notification or via Visa debit card details. You are now ready for professional interpretation services. Download the app from the Google Play Store or App Store today.
Assistor is now available on the Safaricom M-Pesa app. To use Assistor, simply log in to my M-Pesa app, go to Services, select Assistor, follow the prompts, and your account is ready to use. To get an interpreter's services, simply click on the interpreter's icon and select an available interpreters from the list provided. Assistor, sign language interpretation at your fingertips.
when I was doing the sprints and talking to people who have encountered the app during the pro bono period, I came across an interpreter who told me she helped a deaf person who had gone to the delivery. And to me, that was a eureka moment of how deeply this app is actually being used by the deaf community, because during the maternal engagement of this deaf person with the doctors, she was able to call an interpreter who would now tell the doctor how she was feeling, the experiences she was having. So the doctor was able to serve this deaf person better than it would have been without a sign language interpreter.
Doors should not hold out opportunities. Doors are the gateways to progress, the ones that hold ideas, and those that close deals. Let's take those to places where there are none. Let's open big doors that harbor progress. In all the places that we are,
KCB ni yangu.
KCB ni yetu.
KCB is mine.
KCB ni yetu. For people, for better.
That break, glad you're still watching Science Breakfast with me, Alan Hubbard. A sign language interpreter is Gideon Miner. In studio this morning, I am with Michelle Njiru. He is the Customer Excellency Doctor per his social media handles, but he is from KCB Bank, and today we are talking about the 127 years that KCB has been offering services to its esteemed customers. If you missed the first segment, you could go back onto our social media platforms, that is at Facebook, X and YouTube. You could catch the first installment where he has basically taken us through the journey of how customer service sort of started in the country, and the different things that KCB is doing to make sure that they not only think about you, the customer, but also they think about the employee who they work with to serve you. Because if the employee is properly taken care of, then they will then reflect that in the way they serve the organization's customers. Mr. Njiru, before we went for the break, we were talking about inclusion, and you spoke about how KCB is making it its work to make sure that it hires diverse talents and diverse persons, including persons with disabilities. But one of the key things that I am realizing that is a limitation is persons with disabilities having access to financial instruments and having enough money. You know, there is this connotation, kama una elfu kumi, then you do not need a bank account. Yeah, which are some of the things that KCB is doing to make sure that it makes an inclusive banking industry or even financial system that includes people with disabilities.
Alan, as I mentioned, KCB is anchored on the pillars of for people,
yes,
for better. That is part of what we are talking even in our new campaign and yes, in our strategy. It's for people, for better.
Yes.
And when you talk of for people, for better, it means all people. We are not segregating or alienating
yes,
anybody. And at the start of the program, I did talk about inclusion from an inward perspective on how we do that in terms of our own people,
yes,
internally.
Yes.
Now, when we look out there also, we know that there are groups that, again, you have mentioned, who don't have that advantage in terms of the financial, I would say, inclusion or openings that others do have.
Yeah.
So going back, say, even to business,
yes,
I take that as an example. In our procurement procedures, we actively now have created a space for what we're calling our special interest groups, so that you're able to get consideration favorably to win in any tenders or any procurement
opportunities. Yes.
Within the bank. And in that particular group alone, we have advanced up to 803 million shillings to just the special interest groups.
Yes.
So it is an active thing, that it is there, it is embedded in our policy. That yes, you open these, you must have somebody on these special interest groups, however, putting in their bid. If there is, well and good. If none, then is okay. But the opportunity is available. Then coming to, say, our sporting arena. That's another arena that we're involved in. KCB is heavily invested in motorsport, in volleyball, in chess, in rugby. Actively also, I think we are the only organization that has, again, a driver in the World Rally Championship, who I believe you've even hosted in this show, fully sponsored by KCB, to again put up his ability amongst the best. And he has come out tops, to just show that he has there's no inability in him. The potential is there. And there are many more like that. That's why we have again put in, say, that investment in sports such as this. Go on, look at programs like what we call the Tujiajiri program, targeted towards the youth. Over 4,500 graduates over Tujiajiri programs. Again, reaching out to those who are disadvantaged in one way or the other. Taking you through tertiary education, giving you mentorship opportunities, financial training opportunities. So it's not about just giving you cash. You know, it's that case of give a man a fish, teach him how to fish. So for us, in terms of the inclusion journey, is more around also teaching you how to fish. We get you out there and give you requisite skills that make you also a net employer and a net beneficiary also of the skills that you have got. So we have seen phenomenal growth through our Tujiajiri program around that. And again, through this, the education system, where we are again sponsoring the disadvantaged through school. And now we are looking at even the special needs schools, where we are taking the people through in terms of the education programs that we have. So it is holistic. And that way we connect in terms of what we are saying, our internal customer. We connect with communities, because there are jobs that are being created through Tujiajiri, touch on communities, and they go across all the 47 counties of this country. So we cannot say it is only in one county. It is across board, and try and reach out to as many as possible. And I did say that also we are looking at incubating other, say, products, services, you know, through partnerships, even with this institution here, to see how do we bring out again the best. Because to be customer obsessed, you also have to think ahead of the game. You have to think beyond today. How do we make these sustainable? Where is the world moving to in terms of inclusion, in terms of customer servicing, and in terms of obsession? Where are they going to? And that's the space, again, we are preparing to be there. So that's the long and short answer to your question in terms of how we are you know, we're carrying on the agenda of inclusion. And in terms of schools, we are looking at having taken about 1,300, I think, this year through schools, and 216 through tertiary institutions. So I think it's one way. It can grow, it will grow, but you'd better start somewhere. And that's where we are at.
What's the most important is starting.
Exactly.
You said something, and you sort of were reading my mind, because I was going to ask you my second last question, even as we are aging towards the end of the conversation. What is the future of customer care? Because when I look at websites these days, there is a chatbot somewhere that you can ask questions and it can give you answers on the go. If then it cannot answer you, it will tell you that I will put you in communication with a human experience service provider. From your perspective, given that you're one of the godfathers of customer obsession in the country, what do you look at as a customer obsession, say 5-10 years from now?
Wow, that's a very, I don't know that it's tricky or interesting question, but I get that a lot. I get that a lot. And you have to look, and as I said, you have to look at where the world is going today. Yeah. For you to think of customer obsession 5-10 years. We are really evolving.
Yeah.
And one big thing that's happening now is AI. Yeah. Artificial intelligence.
Yes.
That is very big, and it's going to be very big in driving the narrative around the servicing of customers. That said, one thing you cannot automate are relationships. And for me, that's always my credo.
Yeah.
You'll never automate relationships. A conversation like the one we are having here is very personal to us.
Yeah.
And I think that's what customers want. Customers don't want generic service. Customers want efficiency.
Yeah.
Yes. On the normal mundane things, they want things to work. They want a transaction, you run it, it moves. They want everything at their fingertips. They want to sit here at their own corner, transact, send money across the globe, do a transaction. They want ease of service.
Yeah.
But at the same time, customers want to relate. They want to have a personal touch, a personal bond with the organization they are dealing with.
Yeah.
So in as much as AI will help me dissect you and dissect your
to
needs,
understand me,
understand you better, know what to preposition for you, to plot and dot and know what to serve you at any time. You wake up, it's there for you.
The most interesting one, when I don't know how these systems know, whenever you're late on rent, they send you a message. You can get a rent advance. And you're wondering, how do they know?
And that's the thing, it's a study of behavior. So actually the people who will have a lot of, I think, work going forward are behavioral scientists, people who can study your behavior, tell me, it's almost like the next best thing, they can almost tell me what's Alan going to do right after this. What will he do? He'll go fix himself a cup of coffee, or he'll go get a mandazi somewhere.
Then you beat me with an advertisement.
You already know what is your next, your next trigger. So a lot of that you can see is being driven by AI today. Even when you go into the social media space, you wonder, why is this ad playing? And I visited this page, I did this, but why are they playing KFC burgers or whatever on my ad, whatever? Because you were searching food or you did whatever, and that behavior, that study has happened behind the scene. But going back to the point, we are relational beings. So often people ask, are we going to shut our branches? Now with all these, are we going to close branches? I don't think so. The role of the branch remains there. There is work for the branch. There is a room for the branch. And KCB prides itself in a very wide network of branches in this country and beyond, in the 7 countries we operate in. In there is more of the relationship and the relational, I would say, servicing. The branch might shrink in size, but not disappear. The role of what people do...
You're not ruling it out entirely?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
And the role of what people are doing inside the branch is probably what will evolve. But it will not stop existing. It will be run in tandem with, again, the technology that is going in there. So 5-10 years, heavy investment on tech. Definitely you'll see that. Heavy investment on solutioning. Heavy investments on artificial intelligence and just the study of the customer and the customer nuances. That definitely is in that space.
As you're speaking, my brain cells are thinking about a customer service center that is that is an augmented reality. For a minute, you have to think about what's possible. Somebody who has not been able to watch this live, and they're going to bump into this conversation later, what do you have to tell them to become a KCB client, even as we're winding up?
Well, I think if you look at our current campaign, we're talking of open doors. That is what KCB is about now. It's open doors. Opening to opportunities. Opening to the communities in which that we are serving. We are saying we are open. The other thing we are saying is that KCB ni yetu. 127 years is no mean thing. And we owe it to our customers, who have been with us generations and generations to come.
Yeah.
And that trust is what we want to continue building up, to say that we're here for the long haul.
Yeah.
We're here for the communities in which we serve. We're here for our own internal people.
Yes.
Yeah. And we're here for those who have made us who we are today. And as KCB, I say it's always a learning, curve. You might think that after being here 127
You know it all.
years, we know it all. Believe me, no. We are learning every single day. And our customers have been part of this learning and growth journey.
Yeah.
We owe it to them. They are the ones who give us the feedback. They tell us where we are doing it right, where we are messing up, because sometimes we do.
Yeah.
And when we do, we just come up front and say, Pole. Yeah. And that we have the mindset that we are gonna fix it, and we will do it.
Yeah.
So every day is a learning, every day is an opportunity. So to those listening in, is Karibu KCB. KCB ni yetu. KCB ni yenu.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Right.
what I would say.
Thank you very much, sir, for making the time, because I understand you have a busy schedule, but thank you very much for making the time, and we hope to probably catch you in our next conversation and see if we could still be able to pick your mind on customer obsession.
Asante.
All right.
And thanks for having me, and thank you to all the viewers.
All right. Thank you very much for being a part of the breakfast show all the way where we started. I've been your host, Alan Hubbard. Sign language interpreter has been Gideon Miner in collaboration with Jedida Wafula. Do not worry if you're just switching on your TV right now. You can recatch this conversation on our social media platforms at Science TV Kenya. That is on YouTube, X, and as well as Facebook. And if you might have any comment, you could just check out KCB, or you have a question to KCB, you can just check out their website and the different channels of communication that they have, and you'll be able to be served. That's all I've had for you today. Let us see you tomorrow on Wednesday as we bring you Dreams in Motion. Good morning.